Hey film fans, so I just finished watching Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets for probably about the 1,000th time. I said it before in the previous video, but if you haven't seen it, I'm going to say it again. I am a massive Harry Potter fan, okay? I have a picture of Hagrid right here on my wall. I'm definitely trying to do this series without a bias and trying to view it as though I had never seen it before, and this is my first kind of reaction and reviews of the film. So the Chamber of Secrets is the follow-up to J.K. Rowling's first film, Philosopher's Stone, or Sorcerer's Stone for those of you that are in the UK. It features Harry, Ron, and Hermione at their second year of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry as they try to discover a dark force that is once again terrorizing the school. This film has an 82% on the Rotten Tomato scale, and I'm going to accept that because there's things this film could have done better, but it wasn't terrible either. This film cleared $262 million in the box office, and considering the production budget of $100 million that it had, which is actually $25 million less than the previous film, this film did really well and has almost doubled that in its time in the box office. Now, this franchise is still super popular, especially now with the release of the Fantastic Beasts movies, so I'd imagine that number has probably quadrupled by now. This movie was released on November 15th of 2002 and has the same director as the first film, Chris Columbus, and its CGI was flawless. The basilisk behaved as a snake should. There's no clunky, strange movements that you'd be like, a snake doesn't move like that, like what is this? There's none of that in this film. Even with the Quidditch match, this is how I'd picture broomsticks behaving. If they fly, they're clean, it's well done, it's not jerky, it's not some sort of weird movement that doesn't make any sense for what's going on in that particular moment. The book to the movie is not terrible. It's not as bad as the first film for missing a couple important scenes that really should have been in it. Of course, compared to the novel, again, there are quite a few things missing, especially Peeves. He would have been great if he would have been in the movies, and I will probably say that every time because he really, really should have been. But it doesn't take away as much as the first film does for the importance of some of those scenes that really should have been in there. It's not as terrible as the first one for missing information. I feel like they followed the book probably more closely in this film than they did in the previous one. And for that reason, I appreciated this film a little bit more than I did the first one. So this film shows a scene where Harry is sitting with the Weasley family. And at that time, I know how he's feeling, that he's finally feeling that sense of belonging that he's been missing his entire life because he was raised as the unwanted burden that was left on the doorstep and they weren't given a choice, right? So in this film, that's where he starts getting that sense of belonging, that I belong in your world. I belong in the wizarding world. This is where I belong. This is where my friends are. This is where my school is. This is where my parents were. That sense of belonging is so prevalent. And this film is one of the last films where you actually see a lot of childhood innocence, because in the next films, it just continues to get darker. So I really appreciated about this film that for 12-year-olds, or supposedly being 12-year-olds, this film still had that light childhood era innocence in it. The spell characteristics go right back in with the CGI, where they behave on their own. They all have their own characteristics, they all have their own actions. Majority of them even have their own colors. They're just so well thought out, and I do like that all the spells have their own characteristics and that's depicted in film as well as in the novels. The things that irk me about this film is, one, of course, we're missing scenes, but I mean, it would have been a 10-hour movie if they would have followed the book directly. But the things that irk me is Malfoy's hair. What is up with Malfoy's hair in this film? It's orange. Malfoy's hair is supposed to be Snow White, just like his father's. And in this film, I don't know if it was lighting, I don't know if it was an accident, I don't know if it was just a wardrobe malfunction, but his hair is orange, and it's painfully obvious. Why? Why is it orange? It shouldn't be orange. It's supposed to be Snow White, just like his dad's. And in the later films, it's exactly what it looks like, is it's Snow White, just like his father's. But in this particular film, with his hair perfectly slicked back, it is orange. And that kind of takes away from the character a little bit, because that's what we're so used to seeing and so used to thinking about, is just that Snow White, stark, cold hair. Not orange. That's Ron's hair. The mystery of this storyline is how they trained it so well that it's a full mystery throughout the film. They're slowly putting together bits and pieces that last throughout the entire film, which makes us feel like it really wasn't rushed. It was well thought out, and it probably would have been a lot worse had they not incorporated some of the things that they did to make it more theatrical. It probably would have had like some boring points, and nobody wants that in their film, because you don't want to have to like fast forward or like sit there and just eat your popcorn. What am I doing here, right? No, this mystery is prolonged throughout the entire end of the film, right up till probably about the last, I'd say, half hour or so before you actually find out the ending and what's truly going on. And the foreshadowing. There's so much foreshadowing in this film, it's absolutely ridiculous. Harry starts learning that, okay, I can speak Parseltongue because Voldemort did. Okay, I can do this because he could do it. And that's all leading up to the later on films where he discovers a Horcrux. But the thing that bothers me is, if he discovers a Horcrux and how they're made, and Dumbledore has already told him repeatedly at the later point that, you know, this has happened. This is what happened. A part of his soul lives in you. Why doesn't he figure out that he's one too? But that's a totally different tangent for a later film. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Be sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button down below to keep up with the content. And we'll see you all in the next one.